This episode is sponsored by 8 full glasses of water a day.
This episode is also sponsored by being brave enough to eat airport sushi. This is Sorry for the Wait. Here we go. Fired up, ready to go. Welcome to the show, folks. This is Sorry for the Wait, a weight loss podcast for regular people by regular people. I am your host, Seth.
And I am your host, Strawberry.
We're recording on a Sunday.
I know, this feels really weird.
This is weird, but you know what? We're here for it.
Yeah.
I think we're all about it.
Honestly, weekend recording, so nice.
Yeah, it really is. And then, we're just going to chop this up a little bit afterwards, and then we'll be ready for Wednesday. But recording on a football Sunday, which is
So now you have like we got like a little bit of a deadline for you because you don't want to miss the Pats.
Yeah, no, I really don't. And like the Patriots play like Sunday. I mean, the game will already be over. I'm probably looking at a loss. But you never know. But so, I mean, it's weird now that football season's back and like football season is just food central. And I'm still here just like, one sec. Give me a minute. I'll be there.
Before we go into your update, because I think that you might have some stuff to talk about with that, I wanted to go back to that fake sponsor of yours for a second. Do you not eat sushi from, well, I guess.
Do you?
Do
you eat airport sushi?
I will eat sushi from anywhere.
You'll order sushi at an airport.
I mean, yeah, like if it's in like that prepacked, like it's just fish, man.
I don't know, man. It would like the main.
If I'm in a sush mood, I'm gonna have some sush. You think just because I'm in Newark International Airport, I'm not gonna have some sush?
Yeah, dude, I think you're holding off on the sush there. Like, I don't know. The inspiration from that came when I took a flight out of Logan Airport, and I watched a dude sit down at a bar. Like, I was like sitting in the airport bar, just kind of waiting because my flight was delayed. I was going to Ohio, and this dude sat down and was like, I'll have the shrimp tempura roll. And I was just like, man, that fish truck is rolling up to Logan Airport and
it's
dropping
Boston. They have a harbor. It's not like it's that far.
And maybe it's just
maybe if I'm at an airport in like Iowa, I probably won't trust the
like
sushi.
The Des Moines, Iowa airport sushi is probably not going to be on your list.
But if you're in a city near the water, I don't think it's any less trustworthy than like. I feel like it looks like the same sushi that they have in supermarkets.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it just freaks me out a little bit. I think there's a certain level of bravery of taking. I think it's more of rolling the dice on sushi, and then you're about to go sit on a plane. Like,
okay, that's a
you know what
point.
I mean. Like there are so many barriers for disaster.
But anyway, so how was your week?
Yeah, speaking of freaking me out, no, my week. It's funny. This is the first week since I've started that I've stayed the same.
Wow.
Yeah, which
Plateau season, baby.
Yeah, let's celebrate it. Let's celebrate those plateaus, people. But you know what? It's funny. I got on the scale. I saw the same number. I thought it was like a typo. That's not a thing,
The scale's just like, whoops, sorry.
And I was just like, no, you're wrong. This machine is wrong. But then I got off. I got back on just to make sure. Like, you just never know. But then, oddly, I was just kind of at peace with it.
I'm so happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, like it was weird because at first, don't get me wrong, like you know how we always forgive ourselves for our like initial gut reaction to anything,
right?
After that first 10 seconds, I was just like, oh, it's fine.
The world hasn't fallen apart.
To be at peace with it like that, it was kind of weird because it finally like solidified my stance of just that like this isn't gonna end,
right?
Like a weight loss journey ends. But a health and wellness journey doesn't really end.
Well, I mean, eventually, but like not for a long, long time, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not trying to kick like this early. But the thing is that solidified in this mindset that this isn't a point A to point B, which I've been talking about, but it's much easier said than done. I'm just going. I'm in no rush. I will get there.
Well, and I think like the fact that you're doing that means you're already almost there.
Right.
Like you've been working so hard and I mean, being very self-disciplined about what you've been eating and not eating for so many months to get to the point where you can plateau.
Yeah.
And it's still like, you're not like, it's not like a bad thing to plateau now. If you're plateauing, at the very beginning, then yeah, I would understand why that would freak you out. but like you've been
right.
putting in all this work. Like this isn't really plateauing for you. This is like the getting to the final stretch of the journey.
Yeah,
for the scale going down.
Right, exactly, and just not putting as much stock into the scale, and like I still did all the right things, and honestly, it made me. I think I was better equipped to deal with a plateau this week because it was just such a shitty, rough week. Like it really was.
In what sense? Like at work?
Yeah, like I don't know, just work was kind of nuts. Just everything. Like I just felt drained this week. I felt exhausted. It was the first time in a while that it really kind of caught up to me that I was just like, man, I am. And like, granted, I'm going to Planet Fitness every morning before work, so that's like
that. Yeah, that'll take a toll.
Right, that's
bit.
from 6 a.m. to 7:15. Like,
so what do you do? Can you really quick just like run me through what your workout regiment is when you get to Planet Fitness?
It is not. It's not a regiment whatsoever.
So what do you do?
I pull up. I get on the treadmill. I walk for 1 hour at 3 miles an hour at a 1% incline.
Okay, that's it.
Yep, that's it. Because right now,
that's doable. I like that.
Exactly, and that was the whole thing going into it, is that I wasn't trying to go in there and be goddamn Hercules. You know, like I'm not trying to do that right now. The big thing is that I get there and I go
right,
and I do something, because hopefully what I'm envisioning is happening is that 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, when I wake up, that is the first thing that I just know that I have to do.
Right. It's all about building the habit. And once you have the habit of going to that place down, then you can start building on that by changing what you do there and intensifying it. But I feel like one of the things that stops a lot of people and causes that whole like New Year's resolution, January pile up, and then everybody's gone by February, is that people go into the gym for the first time
and trying to hit it so hard.
Yeah, and like it's exhausting. And if you do that, like even if you're able to keep that momentum going for a week and go in and go hard straight off the first week, like eventually you're going to feel like you're hitting a wall because it's taking a lot of energy.
Yeah, and your body's just not used to it. And so I need to gear up my body, and then I can start
conditioning yourself.
Exactly. And who would have thought that conditioning has value?
I was just told that you shouldn't condition yourself more than like once every couple of days though, but I think that's only with hair.
Oh, okay. Oh, boo. Boo. Actually,
I had to try.
You know what? I didn't mind it. But, you know, honestly, I'm not running out of time, which is how I always used to think of a weight loss journey, is because I was always attaching it to something.
Yeah.
And
like
so
you don't have to lift like you're running out of time.
Right. There's no finish line. I'm just going. Like, and I'm just trying to find a comfortable groove of what I'm doing and where I'm at. So yeah, no, it was a pretty good week. But how was your week?
Professionally, our weeks were very much the same.
Yeah.
But I don't want to harp on any of that.
Yeah, no, this is happy time.
But yeah, no, that's why I'm glad I had like a couple days to recharge from the week before we got here recording.
Before we sat down on the ones and twos.
So I'm down another 3 pounds this week for a grand total of 97.
97.
So it looks like there's something interesting maybe happening in a week or so.
We are a swift kick in the nuts.
We'll see.
Right away from 100. That is incredible.
Honestly, like now, it's weird because even when I was at like 93 as like my total, it didn't really like, it started to kind of hit me that I'm close. But I think being over 95, like now I feel now it's a rounding error.
Yeah.
You know, like I can just round up.
You can round up, yeah.
and it is kind of like mind blowing to think of like 100 pounds. Like that's more, like I never thought I could even lose that much weight. I had spent so much time being in that like between 275 and 325 zone.
Right.
That like honestly for probably the better part of a decade, right? Like I've been in that zone. I never expected to be able to lose that much weight. I just didn't think that was possible for me, not necessarily physically, but just mentally.
Right. Do you remember some of the conversations we used to have when we would work after camp and we'd be up super late? And this was at one point when we were sitting on the porch of a cabin. And I remember us talking about it. And this was at the time when I was thin, but the wrong way. But I was just like, I think you can do this. Like, not the way that I do it, but like, I think that you can get healthy. And you were set in that mindset of like, no. It's just never going to happen, and I just know that, and I've made peace with it.
Yeah, and that was always I've always been like one of those like hope for the best but expect the worst kind of people. Where like you know maybe in my head I'll fantasize like one day I could lose 100 pounds, but then it would come time to like talk about things and I just be like nah. I mean it's not gonna happen. Yeah, like exactly. I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
I'm gonna just go do the shit that I want to do.
Right, exactly. Like I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, that was your t-shirt. that was your motto. But I can't believe that.
And honestly, it's a better time now than it
Right.
was then. So
It is just
I guess I didn't know anything.
to be that close to that big of a milestone. Like, I'm glad that it hasn't been on your mind that much. Like, it's only kind of starting to enter your mind because it's not like you have to change anything up to get there.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like mentally, like the switch kind of clicked and made it a lot easier when I'd been around like 50-ish pounds, maybe
Right.
like 60 pounds, because that was when I'd really gotten down to a point that I looked at the scale and I was like, I don't remember the last time I weighed this.
Yeah,
Like,
that's wild.
And that was what kind of like
blew your mind open.
yeah,
kinda?
it blew my mind. So ever since then, it's been a little bit easier to like mentally think about it. But now getting close to 100, that feels even more
That's wild.
crazy.
It's to hit that number. I mean, granted, we try not to put too much stock in the numbers, but that's a huge personal achievement that's coming your way.
Oh, absolutely. Care about the numbers all you want as long as they're good. If they're bad, don't care about them.
Yeah, I think you're being facetious.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly
Yeah.
like the healthiest way to look at it is that like when the numbers are good, use that to motivate you. When the numbers are bad, just
Actually, I do
let
like
that shit
that.
slide off your back.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's the most convenient way. But you know what else blows our minds?
It's the craving of the week.
Ooh, that was pretty smooth.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm getting better.
You're improving. that is you are absolutely improving. And at this point, you'll win a Grammy by 2022.
Okay.
I think that's the goal.
Best new artist, Strawberry.
Everybody, please write the Grammys. Strawberry doesn't have
I
a
don't
song
think that's
yet.
how the Grammys work. I think that's like
No, you can't just write a letter.
no. I think that's like
Oh.
the AMAs or the VMAs.
What are like the
or
Grammys for podcasts? And how have we not already won something?
the pot. I imagine it would
The
be
potties?
something like which I feel like would be a very uninspired name for it.
It's
but
just
like,
it's just a toilet trophy. It's the potty.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Best new potty. Here it is. Yeah, no, it's got a little flush handle. No, we couldn't get the touchless ones. And that's that. Maybe we have to figure that out. If anybody knows, send that our way.
If not, maybe we'll just come up with it.
Yeah, maybe we'll just create our own podcast award.
Yeah.
But if that's for another day, another segment. I need to know, after this long, stressful professional weeks for both of us, what are you craving this week?
I'm craving a lot of different things, but more than that, I'm craving that feeling of being able to just escape from your problems.
Okay.
So I want to bring you to my food escape room.
Okay, I like this. I like the idea.
All right, so you're going to close your eyes
Okay.
and you're going to be wrapped up in a burrito.
Okay, I'm already there.
You're in a burrito. Your hands are down at your side. You're like, you can't move your arms at all. Your only way to escape is to eat your way out.
Oh, I really like that. It's like a weird, almost kind of messed up David Blaine stunt, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's
This Saturday, David Blaine. Oh, is he going to float above another state and with balloon? He's going to be wrapped up in a burrito. YouTube Live.
yeah, really, honestly, the hardest part about it would be like while you're in the burrito, it's going to be a little hard to breathe. So you got to like bite your way out to the surface real quick
yeah.
to get a nice little airflow. And then you can take your time with the rest of the burrito.
That is, so what are you filling your escape room burrito with?
Oh, all the fixins.
Yeah, you're just a
Some
fully loaded
steaks,
burrito
cheese,
guy.
Some, you know what? Throw some like potato in there because
Are you a beans in your burrito guy?
I can do beans. I don't mind beans, but I also don't love beans. They're just kind of there for me.
Yeah.
So if they're there, that's great, but they're not like the centerpiece of anything.
I'm just imagining this room, right? And like somebody just goes in and they're like, how do I even get in this thing? And they're like, don't worry about it. And they just sedate you and you wake up like a Saw movie. They sedate you and you just wake up and
Or you just feel like
Yeah.
a white chloroform towel over your mouth.
right. And then, and then you wake up and it's just queso like caked onto your face. And you're like, what? And someone's just over the loudspeaker that they do in escape rooms to tell you to not cheat. And they're like, figure it out.
Or you're at like the bottom of a 7-layer dip and you're like, oh no.
You're like, how do I breathe? And they're like, how? If you're talking, you're breathing. You signed the waiver.
You only got a couple minutes to eat your way out. Go.
And then whoever makes it out is entitled to just a shower immediately. Because, like, imagine having to get back into your car right after you've eaten your way out of a burrito.
Oh my God, that would be terrible.
That would be disgusting.
Got to bring a towel.
But I got to tell you, I'd do it. I'd sign up tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would. It's the best version of an escape room, and I want them to make it.
Yeah, I like that.
But anyway, so what's your craving of the week?
Barry, let's talk about guns. Okay, so
Oh, good. So we're gonna stay away from the hot button issues.
Well, they told us not to talk about hot button issues, but like, let's talk about guns. So, not a gun guy. Like, I'm not a gun person naturally because, like, look at me. If you saw me holding a gun, you'd laugh at me before you'd be afraid of me. You'd be like, you don't know what to do with that thing.
That's the scary part about guns, though, is it's the great equalizer.
Yeah, it truly is. I'd be like scratching my temple with it and just be like, I had an itch. But regardless, when I thought of my craving this week, I was thinking about just how, like, man, I wish I just had like a taste of something. You know what I mean? Because like I'm trying to reprogram. I wish I just had a taste of this, a taste of a Hershey Kiss. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, I feel like a Hershey Kiss is like, if you're just having one, that's just a taste.
And here's the thing, but that one taste that you kind of need that throughout the day, but you're not trying to hold on to Hershey Kisses like in your pocket and like have them all melty. Ugh. So might I introduce to you the latest innovation, the Hershey Kistel? Okay, and
I'm so mad that I immediately laughed at that pun.
The Hershey Kistel. It's a great innovation. It comes with a holster, 6-round chamber of Hershey Kisses. You can be different. Sometimes you just need the taste. Fire off some love, kill them with kisses. I don't know. Like there's branding to be had, but I understand that there is a barrier that we need to breach.
Well, and I think that I have a question, and maybe it's not even a question. It's more of a concern. You have this Hershey Kistel. I already
think I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
You put the barrel in your mouth, as twisted as that is.
No.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to have one of these kisses. Does it fire out at Mach 10 and just destroy you?
So I figured that velocity would be a concern.
Yes,
okay, that was like my top velocity. And now for me, right, like we're not trying to send the wrong message with the Hershey Kistel, you know? We're
right.
Not.
It's a love gun.
Right. Exactly. Which is sometimes what they call me. And
no, it's not. Nobody has ever called you that.
Oh man, I could have sworn that they were like, "Oh, Seth, that's love gun, baby."
Not once.
So like in this magical fantasy world of our craving of the weeks, right? The Hershey Kistel will not fire at a person.
It's just like a mini Nerf gun. Maybe.
Exactly. Okay. Imagine like a Nerf gun, right? Like if you are trying to point it like at your face or at somebody else's face, that's the safety.
Right.
It's just like no. And also I imagine this sort of like a mixture of Nerf gun, but also like a cartoon gun that shoots out the bang flag. Like it's kind of like that. Like
it just shoots out like kiss.
Yeah, like, exactly. And then it drops it right into your hand. That's
awesome.
Kind of how I want it. Or if you just want, you can just like the velocity won't be enough that it'll hurt you. But if you just want to like launch a Hershey Kiss into your hand and then pop that thing in your mouth, I think having that on in my holster, that's the kind of thing that I could get behind.
I'm trying to picture you shooting a Hershey Kiss like into your hand with a gun, and I think the first few times you do it, you're gonna look like an absolute idiot. But I think that like once you get better with the hand-eye coordination of it, it's just gonna look so dope.
It's gonna look so gangster, dude. Like
it's like, oh, you know what? I want some chocolate.
Yeah,
pop.
Yeah, just like and like you can just wrap it. And here's the cool thing, right? Is that it's a 6-round chamber. Once those 6 are out, you're out. So you're budgeting in those 6 Hershey Kisses, and maybe you don't go through all of them in the day. The Hershey Kistel cannot be reloaded more than once in a day.
Ooh. Oh, you know what? I feel like I like that. I feel like our cravings so far have always been just like limitless.
Right.
I like having the limit though.
I know.
It makes me feel happier.
Exactly.
Makes me feel like I would actually get it now as opposed to the escape room burrito. That maybe a year ago I'd have been like fucking down for it, but now I'd be like, maybe I'll just have a burrito.
Right. But how many times have you done that? Not necessarily with Hershey Kisses, but with like any kind of like of that big bagged candy. And you're like, well, I'll just buy it and I'll have it. Like, and I'll portion it out and stuff like that. And you've been very good with that at times.
Yeah.
But
at times.
Me, that bag be gone, dude. That is bag be gone. Like constantly, consistently.
Yeah, honestly, at this point when I bag out my portions, it doesn't really stop me from eating more than one bag at a time. It just makes me know how guilty I should feel for having multiple bags.
Or just account for what's going into your body.
Like just like, okay, so I've had like 3 servings of this. Like I probably should have stopped at 1 or 2, but I had 3.
Right.
Now I know what I'm dealing with going forward.
And obviously, like we are being very facetious with the Hershey Kistel here. We do not want anybody to really think that we're glorifying a candy pistol.
And I think anybody who like talks to us, like knows us like that, would know that without saying it. But for all of you who are just listening,
or just like, I didn't like when the boys talked about the gun.
You need to have a universal background check law for the Kistel, though.
Yeah, no, oh, you do. It's a universal chocolate background, maybe.
Yeah, if I don't know what categories would
make
somebody not eligible.
I like
for it.
Kistel control because here's the thing: is that I need to know that you're really not gonna you're not going to try and mess with and try and get more Hershey Kisses out of this.
Mm.
You know, like you never know.
Yeah, max limit of 1 Hershey Kistel, because otherwise the limit's just gone.
Exactly, because then it's like, well, yeah, I got the 3-pack, 18 Hershey Kisses a day, baby. And
now, can you buy the ammo, aka Hershey Kisses, like unlimited?
So obviously in this fantasy world, it's more so like you have your ammo box, and it's 6 little compartments. And each day you wake up and you can load up those 6, but it's not going to reappear.
I was going to say maybe you could get like one of those like weekly pill bottle things and just put 6 Hershey Kisses for every day and just be like, this is my Monday Hershey's.
Could you imagine a candy pill box and somebody's just like, oh man, I forgot my real meds, but at least I got this.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of thing that you could only have if you didn't have kids.
No, very, very much so.
Here's my candy pill box, but don't touch the other one, even though the pieces might look a little bit like candy.
That would be an absolute mess. But that's another craving of the week, folks. If you want to submit your craving of the week, SFTWSubmissions at gmail.com.
Yeah, not gmail.org.
Yeah, not gmail.org. That was my FM radio voice, like gmail.com.
Oh, I like that.
Up next, Tony Robbins? Ugh.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Why? But you know what? Actually, up next, we're going to go back to a fan favorite, a popular one of our favorites. We're going back to Breddit and Butter.
Breddit and Butter.
Can you pass me the Breddit and Butter? And you said that you have one for me this week.
Yeah, so we're going back to my favorite subreddit, Am I the Asshole?
Yep, it's a tried and true.
Honestly, like, there's nothing that I like more throughout my day than just opening up this subreddit, seeing people asking if they're an asshole, and being able to pass judgment on another person without feeling bad because they're asking.
They asked for it. Yeah, I mean, who are we? We're doing a disservice to that subreddit if we don't comment on it.
And honestly, like, if I'm ever being an asshole in my life, I'd want people to tell me.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
So this one says, am I the asshole for hiding a stash of treats from my seafood diet husband? When I see food, I eat it.
Yeah, I love. Hey, we were card-carrying members of the seafood diet.
Right, so it's a long post, but I'll just sum it up here. So the poster says, if my husband knows something exists and he has a visual on it, it'll be gone by the end of the day.
Okay.
It's just mindless snacking. Bag of goldfish, just a handful every time he walks by. Tortilla chips, a handful here, one there. Anything eye level in the pantry gets decimated, and oftentimes bags get left sitting wide open so they get stale within 3 days of opening it. While cleaning this weekend, he found my stash of fruity candy and was really upset with me and told me that it feels like I don't trust him, which is obviously true.
Absolutely.
I watched him plow through a bag of peanut M&Ms in a single day with the walk-by hand grab, and I'd been looking forward to them. He never lets me know when he's finished something off either.
Ooh.
We got into a weird fight about it where he insisted on asking people about it. His closest work friend was even like, if she's hiding candy from you, what else is she hiding? Am I the asshole? Can't a lady just eat a half serving of gummy bears here and there and be sure they'll still be there when she wants them in a few days?
There is a lot to unpack there. I feel awful for this woman, honestly. Because this is sort of like, is it really a treasure hunt if you never knew you were playing kind of thing? Because I've had food hidden from me before, and like,
me too. We've talked about that before.
But like, we almost kind of knew it was being hidden. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it was always a game. You can put the lock on the fridge. That just means I have to come up with another way to get around it.
But I know the score of the game, and I knew that I was playing. Like,
and you know what? Game respects game. If you're hiding it in a place I can't find it, I'm not mad. I'm like, I was just like, you know what? That's impressive.
Don't get mad. Get better. Work on your craft, my guy. I just can't stand, it's this dude to go on the offensive, right? Like,
oh, I ate all your food, so now you're going to hide your food from me?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You're probably cheating on me.
Well, and the fact that he's like, at one point he's like, you can buy more. Like, what? Dude, no, just respect people's stuff. Like, I understand in a domesticated bliss, like, what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, but not with candy. I'm sorry. There are some hard stop things that, like, this is mine, and I get to enjoy this. And if you have to go to the lengths of hiding it, you should more so, instead of going on the offensive, you should kind of be like, yeah, maybe I should just stop doing that.
Right? Like, if you're married to somebody, like your wife is like, you know what, I'm just going to hide the candy from him. That's really more of a statement on you and not a statement on her. And it's a little concerning that, like, his friends are like, what else is she hiding from you? Because I feel like that is a logical extreme.
I think it's just super funny. Could you imagine that fight playing out in real time and being like, I just wanted to hide these because you always eat my stuff. And he's like, who's the other guy?
Like,
who is he?
There's definitely a lot of like
full Batman.
There's just so much other insecurity there already that just brought to the surface by hiding a bag of M&Ms.
And that's why I think the guy knows he's beat. Like, this is such classic dude who knows he's beat and knows he's like backed into a corner. And so he's just like, well, I might as well just set myself on fire and start running towards her. Like, because that's what dudes do when they know they've lost, is they just start throwing these like weird theoretical haymakers of like, hey, like, can you not use my toothbrush? Who's the other dude? Like, where were you last night? Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's just absurd to me. So is she the asshole?
She's not the asshole.
No, she's not. Is he the asshole?
100%.
Okay.
Like, or 99%. Because here's the thing. I always hate when people are like, it just like, you don't trust me. Well, yeah, that's why I'm hiding these things. You're a human vacuum. Like, you're a human goddamn vacuum cleaner. What do you expect me to do? I want to enjoy shit too.
Well, I also think that like trust isn't the same thing for all things.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's tiered almost, kind of like.
Yeah, like there are things that like you can trust people with, and there are things that like you might not be able to trust that same person with.
Right.
I know myself, like I trust myself to do a lot of things. I don't trust myself to be bringing in Halloween candy into my house.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't trust myself enough for that yet.
And
and
it's not
that's
like,
not a problem.
And it's not like she's trying to hide like these gargantuan bags of stuff. Like, she just wants
to be able to have some gummy bears. Let her have her fucking gummy bears.
Yeah, like, don't take her shit that she was enjoying. And
and then again, I say that as somebody who would be the snack thief of my house.
Right. It's about self-awareness, Bear. Like, it's
if everyone knows, like, I think you said it the best before, if everyone knows the score of the game, then it's a fair game.
Right.
And at that point, all bets are off. She didn't get the score of the game, and he didn't get the score of the game. They were playing two totally different games.
And so now what I'm thinking, like, as you were saying this too, I was thinking like, well, she's got to be able to find some kind of happy medium, right? Now at this point, you just buy the shittiest candy that you know he'll still eat that you don't want, and then hide it in the most obvious spots. Like, hide it in the most obvious spots.
You gotta get like the decoy candy,
right? Exactly.
And then you still gotta find like a really good hiding spot. You gotta get like, she's not an asshole, but she does have to get better at the game.
Yeah, you gotta get better at the game.
If she wants it to work, is all I'm saying.
But like, if you put out some decoy candy and he's like, okay, I found it, haha, because maybe they can like laugh about it now a little bit, and it's shitty candy that she doesn't even want,
right?
Then he's satiated.
Just needs to find better hiding spots.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I really don't. I don't think she's the asshole. A lot of people might look at this and go, you're kind of an asshole for hiding stuff. Hey, when your back is up against the wall and someone's eating your candy, I think there's no rules in war.
It's also, what about like the severity of what you're hiding? Like, if you have like a secret stash of like money that you're stowing away, and like
very different.
Like that I understand. You look at that and you're like a little suspicious.
But if you're just peanut M&M
candy, like, go get your own fucking candy, dude.
And also, my dude, go stop saying that there's trust issues there. And whoever the work bro is on Slack,
Fuck you.
Dude, you deserve a swift kick in the nuts for being like, what else is she on? That's definitely just a very vintage bro who has no stake in these people's lives. That's just like, yeah, what else is she hiding? what else? And like, dude, you think a dog is equivalent to having a kid. Like, though, that's that kind of person. But you know what? That's another Breddit and Butter. Folks, if you have any other Breddit and Butters coming our way, or if you're just stumbling across Yahoo Answers, maybe Reddit, SFTWSubmissions at gmail.com. We're always
not
there.
.net.
Not .org, not .net.
Not .edu.
No, not. Yeah,
until we come up with sorry for the wait university.
.edu. There's not even an at anything. It's just SFTWSubmissions.edu. Maybe we'll forward that link.
Enjoy the bounce back email.
So we're going to move on to our main topic today. And what's the title of this episode and our main topic today?
All up in my mealings.
All up in my mealings. Is that something? Is that from something? Is there something? Is there an all up in my feelings kind of song?
Well, I'm thinking of like In My Feelings by Drake.
Yeah.
Like, Kiki, do you love me?
Who was Kiki?
Who was Kiki? I think wasn't Kiki the one in the Yes Dance?
It was.
We got to guess Kiki back to life.
I totally forgot that Drake wrote In My Feelings for Kiki from Kinky Boots. Oh my God. That would be so funny if somebody just sat down, like VH1 sits down with Drake and they're like, who was Kiki? And he's like, there's this play, right? There's this musical. It's called Kinky Boots. And And all I could just think was, who put the fork in the garbage disposal?
Ding, 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 ding.
If there are definitely some people out there who will be like,
What the fuck is
what
going
in
on
the
here?
hell is this? But our main topic today, all of In My Mealings, is really just covering the scope of emotional eating. We always think that emotional eating means like bad emotional eating.
Right.
You know, that's just so often like, oh, you're sad, so you eat. And that's what people think emotional eating is.
Yeah.
It is much bigger and worse than that, which we have learned the hard way.
It is, but I will start with with a negative emotional eating story because it happened to me 3 days ago.
Oh no! Oh, that's perfect, timely.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, this week's episode is going to be really, really timely,
really real.
So I was like very stressed out this week because of work, because of some other issues, and I was having like a really bad day on Thursday. And I just in the sense of like I was just like high strung, and kind of snappy. I had a prescription that I was picking up at CVS, and when I went in, I stood on their line. I got up to the front, and they were like, "We don't have any record of this prescription in our system." And I literally just got like the doctor within the hour, like an hour ago, had sent the prescription in. So I went back to my car to get like the paper that my doctor gave me that said that they put that prescription in. And I was just feeling so angry, like, and I don't know why.
It was just like everything. A breaking point. Yeah.
Blood was boiling. I grabbed it. I went back in. I was ready to like, I had to stop myself from like Karening out on this poor pharmacist because I was like, and I never do that.
Yeah,
like, I'm such a pushover that I will never. So the fact that I got to that level of anger in my own head, I was like, control yourself. And then I get my prescription. I walk out of the CVS, and right there in the parking lot is a McDonald's.
Oh man, yeah.
And I looked at that McDonald's and I was like, I could do a few snack wraps.
Yeah.
And I'd never had that immediate of an association between like my emotions and my, I guess,
your hunger, I guess.
Yeah, my craving of like I need to eat food.
Right.
And like that, it just was so obvious, like in my own face. And like I got in my car and I went home. So I did not go to McDonald's.
And that's good. And I think that the fact that you were able to like identify that it was that obvious made it easier for you to say no, because you're like, oh shit, it's like pointing back and forth. You're
right.
Like, I get it.
It made me wonder how many times I'd been in like that exact same position, but I just was I didn't even think about it. I was not conscious of what I was doing. And so I just went to McDonald's. I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to go to McDonald's on my way home.
And I do think that on a weight loss journey, right? You're experiencing every emotion. You really are. You're experiencing the like.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, the very good to the really dark bad. Like because no matter what, there are times where you are on your journey, and you're just at this sort of breaking point, because guess what? You're not just on a weight loss journey. Your life is also happening at the same time. So you're trying to achieve this incredible thing while also balancing your real life. And I don't understand. It was so hard for us to grasp that emotional eating was one of our biggest pitfalls, and yet we had such a difficult time identifying it.
It almost feels absurd looking back on it, but I just think in the moment, I never had any other reason to eat other than I was just hungry, even though I was never actually hungry, because I ate so much that I never really gave my body the opportunity to feel what actual hunger is.
Yeah, like, you know, always like that dialogue that they put in like every TV show where there's like a parent who drinks too much and they're like, mama needs her medicine. Like there's always that cliche line of like, mama needs her medicine, and it's like, needs a drink. Food was our medicine. Like it really was. And I always felt like there was never a food that couldn't cure some emotion. And I think that it was so widely accepted. Almost every emotion imaginable can be tied to food. That's what, like, so what I mean by that too is like happy, like you're happy, you're celebrating.
Yeah, where you go to celebrate, you want to go out for a nice big meal.
Exactly. Or you're at like a grad party or a wedding or a birthday party. You're at, the spread is going to be top notch. Sad, grief, death food. Let's talk about death food.
Oh my God, Seth. Look, the Jewish community, when somebody dies, you get so much food made for you and give it like delivered to your house for a week straight.
They build
you have food for a month.
They build you a log cabin out of latkes, like that. That's what it kind of is.
Yeah.
And so death food, like I remember like when family members would pass, like in my youth, and all of a sudden I would just see like the amount of casserole dishes that would just show up, and you're just like, well, it's here and it's in front of you. And so like, and you're dealing with one of the most severe emotions of grief.
Yeah.
Like, so what else do you want to do but just put your life on pause and just shove macaroni and cheese down your gullet for days on end.
Exactly. Now you don't even have to go out of your way to get more food. It's just right there for you to use as a crutch to handle the emotion you're feeling, which is like kind of, it's a little dangerous.
And think about the lingo with it too. Soul food, comfort food. You know what I mean? Like there's like the phrase of warm you up food. Like a soup is a warm you up food on a nice winter night. Like stuff like that. We associate all of these emotions with the food that is around us, and it's so easy for us to get caught because it's not just something that we do. It's something that everybody does.
Oh yeah.
Like, so when it's just us bigs dealing with it, we can sort of have a better sense of identifying it. But every person on the planet wants a good meal and wants to celebrate with a good meal or wants to grieve and be comforted by good food.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing for me too is, I'm sure you've heard of like the quarantine 19.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny because I feel now that I'm back at work, all of my coworkers, complimenting me on my weight loss, but then also like not so subtly also negging themselves for their weight gain.
And you don't know how to react to that.
Right. But like at the end of the day, like that was a genuine thing that happened to a lot of people because when quarantine happened, you were home, so there was that feeling of boredom that you were dealing with.
Bored
but then
eating.
a lot of people had stress and anxiety from it. And that's also a big trigger for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%.
So all of that together, it's not surprising that lots of people ended up putting on weight, especially people who then turned to alcohol as like a crutch.
Yeah, and people started drinking a lot more.
Because for some reason, package stores, liquor stores were deemed essential services.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I would argue that was probably a net positive. But
I think that was really more just because then there would be riots.
Yeah, exactly. Like just a globe liquor.
Like you're going to make me stay in my house with my family for the next 3 months and I can't even get a drink.
If I don't have a bottle of gin sitting next to my kid.
It was just like if we close the liquor stores, there's no way people are staying home.
But I liked what you started to say about substituting. You're trying to substitute food with something productive, like without eliminating it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying, no one is ever going to say like don't go out and have a good meal to celebrate.
Right.
Like don't do that. Like I can't stand when people are like you have to completely eliminate that.
But I will say we kind of would often look for excuses to celebrate.
We did.
Especially at camp. At camp, any excuse to celebrate would be an excuse that we would use to just go full binge eater.
We would literally go celebrate the fact that we had an extra hour on our curfew. We were like, where are we going to eat?
It's Saturday. We get an extra hour. Yeah. Let's go. What are we doing?
And it was like,
we can eat and go to the bar. We don't have to pick one.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, what restaurant are we going to? Because we have 1 whole hour of our night off.
Like an extra hour.
Yeah, or especially like our days off were treated like holiday.
The amount the Chinese buffet on 6-11.
Yeah, we would go there.
It would be then it would be a competition. How many plates can we have?
And so that's another that competitive nature and your desire to win. And it's just like, when it really just should have been like, let's just go grab something to eat and then go do something actually fun.
Yeah. like we get one day off a week. Maybe we shouldn't just eat ourselves into a coma then wake up tomorrow morning for a week of work and then be just completely feeling like shit.
Yeah, be like, I don't know what happened. Like, we didn't do anything differently. Well, yes, that was the problem.
Yeah, have fun with your food hangover.
But I think, especially now that we've started the show, right, and that we've seen our progress so far, I think we have found more ways to not just, it's lip service to be like, just substitute it with something. You know what I mean? Like you can always tell someone, well, just substitute what your coping mechanism is. And like people can look at us and be like, eat shit, man. It's so easy.
I've had people tell me that like, oh, well, like it's fine to do that, but like instead of reaching for the bag of chips, reach for a bag of carrots. And it's like, carrots don't make me feel the way a bag of chips makes me feel when I eat it. So that's not apples to oranges.
And it's not about the food. That's the one thing with emotional eating. It's not about the food. It's about understanding your relationship with food. So if someone's sitting there and telling me to not reach for a bag of chips, but to reach for a bag of carrots, I need to actually assess if I'm even hungry.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't eat if you are not hungry. But we are so conditioned to be like, I'm sad, I'm hungry.
That's really
I'm
why
happy, I'm hungry.
That's really why I like my new technique of like, if I feel like I want to eat something, have some water or a stick of gum for a little bit. Like, and if after that I'm actually hungry still, then
then
move on to actual food.
You're listening to your body at that point.
Right.
And
it's just so hard to like start listening to your body when you ignore your body for so long.
And when you just have natural self-trust issues like we have had, where we just didn't trust ourselves
Very
at the
true.
time.
Very true.
So that we just punted. But we hope anyone out there who is dealing with emotional eating issues, right? Because this is, I think, one of the toughest obstacles in a weight loss journey and just in a life journey, like a journey of life. It's just emotional eating. And we hope everybody out there, what are your coping mechanisms? Like, what do you do to kind of taper your emotional eating? Or have you found a way to just like appropriately assess your relationship with food in a way that could help us? I mean, we still are looking to improve constantly.
So do you think there are any emotions, like heightened emotions that people feel that aren't associated with some sort of like food, whether it's a celebration or like an angry stress eating kind of thing? Do you think there's any emotion that's like excluded from this?
I don't, because I don't think that we could say for every person that exists.
True.
You know what I mean? Like me, ideally, like if I'm scared, I get nauseous, so I can't eat.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I wonder. Yeah, I don't really eat when I'm scared either, but I wonder.
But I do wonder if there are some people when they're scared, if that's when they eat the most, because they're like, maybe this will distract me. Like it's more of just like a distraction coping mechanism. But like, so it's sort of just like anything means something
to somebody.
Yeah, I always try and like make sure I get that one right. But I don't think there's an emotion that can really be excluded, because everybody just has different relationships with food. But that's another main topic down. All up in my mealings.
All up in my mealings.
We hope,
Kiki, do you love me?
Kiki, kinky boots. Honestly, that was really the suggested talking point from this main topic is kinky boots. And
just look up the yes dance if you don't want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
look up the yes dance.
Look up that YouTube video. We did it for a camp skit one time. It killed.
It did.
Oh, it killed. But you know what? We're gonna finish light as always. We're going back to fictional foods.
Ooh.
Fictional foods. We haven't done this one in a bit.
In a hot sec.
It's been a couple episodes, and I think I'm going to kind of throw you for a loop with mine, if you don't mind me starting.
No, you go ahead.
I am trying to find fictional foods, right? I'm racking my brain, and I'm like, man, like, are we going to go crazy? Are we going to get wild? But then all I could think of was like, you know what? I'm starting to eat real food again, and it really was like a very like applicable thing. I'm starting to feel full for way longer, because my body is still just kind of getting used to the fact that there's stuff in there.
Right. That's not just liquid.
That not be liquid, you know? And so all I could think of whenever I was doing my fictional, I just saw you look at my notes too. You're trying to take a sneak peek.
I was like burping.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I'm going to leave that in there. That's not getting cut. So I'm like racking my brain, and all I'm thinking is, you know what I could go for my fictional food that I would love a steady stock of?
What?
Lambus bread from Lord of the Rings.
You want to know what's funny before you go into like your explanation on it?
Yeah.
I knew that you were going to pick it. I thought you were going to pick it last time, because when we came up with the idea for fictional foods, it was like the day after we had just watched the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, we did.
And then they pulled out the Lambus bread. And I remember that when I brought up, I forget whether you brought it up or me, but when we talked about this segment, that was the first thing I thought of, because it was so recent in my head.
And I'm surprised I haven't used it earlier, because I do remember that timeline of like just watching all the extended editions. Hell yeah, extended editions only in this house.
That's the only way to go.
Regardless, but Lambus bread, right? I like looked into Lambus bread. Like,
right,
just
you got to get the book lore into it.
Right, and a nutritious and filling bread meant for elf traveling.
Right.
That was the purpose. The purpose is to
you can go on your quest.
Right, and the big thing for this is that a small amount keeps you full for an extended period of time.
Love it.
How pure is the idea of a nutritious carb that preserves you that you can preserve for a long time without like going stale?
Yeah, I guess if you're on the keto diet, it wouldn't be very
not great.
Exciting.
Lambus bread,
I know
not keto approved.
For me, like, I love carbs. Carbs are my favorite food group of all of them. So I would be totally down with a stockpile of Lambus bread.
And I always hated in Lord of the Rings when like Frodo and Sam were just like, Lambus bread. Be thankful. You're in freaking Mordor, man. Like, oh man,
you want to eat some orc meat?
Yeah, like that was the only times that they were like, I wish we were back at the Shire eating fish and shit. Yes, of course. Anyone would wish that they're home when they're in literal hell.
Sorry that the world is about to end, guys. Can you complain about something else?
Exactly. And just lamb bread, like, I would keep that shit on me at all times.
I like to think that it's got like a nice little flavor to it, like a cornbread or a banana bread.
Exactly. It's either cornbread. It's like almost like a mixture of like cornbread / saltine cracker.
Ooh.
Like it's kind of like maybe like the crunch of a saltine cracker, but the
taste of
kind
a
of
cornbread.
hints of a cornbread. That's my lamb bread. That's my truth.
And that's the best part about Fictional Foods is that, you know,
It can
whenever
be
whenever the author or the show or the movie stops telling you what it is, you get to fill in all the blanks yourself.
Do you think he was ever just like, man, like everyone's really into the lamb bread? I thought of that just as like a throwaway. Like I just needed something, and saltines would have sued me if I had put saltines. But that's my fictional food this week. I'm very interested. I have no idea where you're going to go with this.
So I'm going to go in a direction that I'm almost surprised I didn't think of immediately for the first segment that we did. Growing up, there was one movie above all the rest that I think I can pinpoint as the beginnings of binge eating disorder for myself.
Okay.
And my insatiable,
yeah.
sweet tooth.
Okay, interesting.
And do you have any idea what that movie might be?
The only thing that I think I could guess is obviously Willy Wonka, but
that's it.
Oh, really? Okay,
you got it. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, all right.
And you know, so I'm gonna be casting a wide net here. There are a couple of different Willy Wonka candies that I absolutely.
I should have known that you were going with this after you went with like the Willy Wonka. Like we had talked about Willy Wonka a little bit with your pool of chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
First of all, when I was looking at the different Willy Wonka candies from the movie, there was one that stuck out at me as like one that I really liked when I was a kid. Lickable wallpaper.
Ooh.
That now in the age of coronavirus makes me go, not a thing for me anymore.
Hard pass.
But can I just tell you the 3-course meal gum, and we're kind of on the same level here of like something small.
Oh,
that
I
gets
love
us
it.
through
Compact.
a while,
Yeah.
Right. A 3-course meal gum. Could you imagine just putting a stick of gum in your mouth and having a 3-course? Like I'm picturing turkey dinner. You're getting turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing. You're getting your cranberry sauce, like all in that one stick of gum, and it lasts you.
And then you finish off with pumpkin pie, dude. Oh, that's fire! I love that because then you're not worrying about cooking. You're not worrying about cleaning. You just have your stick of gum in your pocket.
Right. And I think it's the perfect like solution for us binge eaters because a lot of the times that we were eating, I mean, we were trying to fill something else, whether it was our feelings or whatever.
Some sort of void.
But the real lure there was the taste. We just really wanted the taste.
Right.
How many times would we say like, I just want the taste of this with none of the calories?
Said it earlier, yeah,
Boom.
with the Hershey Kistel.
3-course meal gum right there. On the same line, everlasting gobstoppers.
Yes.
Anything that lasts forever.
Yeah,
that's worth it.
I guess you would just need a carrying case for it.
Yeah.
You know, like you would just want to like have like a almost like a silicone or like a plastic kind of case that would keep it fresh, but also not like if you're just throwing that shit in your pocket.
Yeah, no. And then there's of course the fizzy lifting drink.
Oh man, dude, that scene in Willy Wonka, I had nightmares about that. like because you're a kid, you don't know that like everything's gonna turn out okay in all these movies.
Right.
When I'm like,
You're like, oh no, they're gonna die.
I truly believe that might have subconsciously played a role in me never drinking soda until I was in middle school.
Really?
Yeah, like I never until I
just thought you were gonna float right up to the sky,
sixth grade,
Aunt Marge style from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
6th grade was the first time that I ever had soda. Wow. Yeah, because like a carbonation, like I always
definitely can't relate to that.
I hated the taste of carbonation, like or just like the feeling of carbonation, like on my tongue.
Interesting.
And I guarantee that there is some weird, deep, dark, subconscious thing of watching that scene in Willy Wonka. I'm thinking they're gonna get sliced and diced by that goddamn fan.
I think this is like the perfect example of like everything means something to somebody.
Yeah.
But, like for me, Willy Wonka is like the start of like my problem with food, and for you it's like, yeah, that is what made me not drink soda for a while.
I know. That's super funny. Yeah, no, that thing gave me actual nightmares.
The last thing I just want to say, you know, Willy Wonka, they have all these like candies that are like, I think Nestle makes them, but they're like branded like Willy Wonka,
right,
just to get like the kids
a Wonka
to be, like,
bar. Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned the Wonka bar because that pissed me off seeing the Wonka bar, because there are chocolate bars in the Willy Wonka cinematic universe that have much better branding associated with them.
Oh, absolutely.
And the one that always stuck out to me was the Scrumdiddlyumptious bar.
Oh man,
You're
going
to tell me you have a name trademarked like Scrumdiddlyumptious.
and you're not using it?
You're not going to use it,
You're not
dude.
using it. That is marketing 101, dude.
Scrumdiddlyumptious. I would eat it even if it tasted like garbage. I would eat it just because it sounds
Right.
Scrumdiddlyumptious.
Like you kind of have to at that point. What do you think that one tastes like? Like I know it's obviously chocolate base, right?
I would just throw all of my favorite things in there to make myself happy.
Yeah.
So like throw in like some pretzel to give it a crunch, throw some caramel to give it a little soft.
Yeah,
Like,
hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah with that.
you gotta give it all its fixins.
That sounds like my kind. So really, honestly, your whole Fictional Foods is just you want to buy a condo in the Willy Wonka cinematic universe.
Well, it's really more that I want to get the golden ticket, and now that I am an expert on Willy Wonka, I can make it through his obstacle course of temptation.
Yeah, because you've
to
already
get to
watched.
the end.
You've already watched the game film. Yeah.
Exactly. And then at the end, I get my own chocolate factory that I can do everything with. And you know what? First thing I'm going to do, free the Oompa Loompas.
Free the Oompa Loompas.
I mean, come on, guys.
And give them pensions, too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Some severance pay.
They deserve a break. You deserve a break today, Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, those poor people.
But that's another Fictional Foods. I honestly, Fictional Foods is so much fun because even though we take a lot of trips down memory lane on this podcast, we haven't done much of that. We never did much of that before we started the show. You know what I mean? Like going back to like these shows and these movies and finding Fictional Foods and being like, oh man, I forgot
That was even a thing.
how much that rocked my world. And so we love doing this. And folks, as always, if you have any Fictional Food suggestions or if you just want to submit your own and what it means to you, SFTWSubmissions at gmail.com.
Not .gov. This is not endorsed by the government of the United States. It's not .gov.
You have gone 4 for 4 with your dot ending of so we have
Well, good. We're running out.
we have not .net, not .org, not .edu, and not .gov.
Yeah.
SFTWSubmissions at gmail.com. Yeah.
I think people got it now.
I think they got it.
Not Yahoo.
I think we're off the rails.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's gonna get cut. But and we're gonna go into closing thoughts, folks. And I kind of have a basis of a closing thought, right? We had rough weeks this week.
Yeah.
We did. I do think that since we started the show, this has been like our toughest week personally and professionally. Like we dealt with a ton of stress this week. And I am personally just proud of us for being able to stay the course.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But not everybody is so lucky for that because everybody's life situation is different and it ties right into emotional eating. If it was the old us, we would have gained 8 pounds this week. Guaranteed. You and I would have gotten takeout every single night and we would have stopped at places on the way home.
Oh.
Like we would have stopped at places on the way home, eaten that in our car, and then come up and order something on DoorDash. Like that's where it's
exactly.
at. And it really just speaks to like us not trying to build Rome in a day. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. It's a day by day thing. You gotta start somewhere.
One day at a time and just keep plugging at it. And we hope that anyone out there who is trying to get healthier right now, we hope you're plugging at it and sticking with it.
And trying to identify what are your own emotional triggers.
Right, exactly. And finding out, because it's got to be personal to you. There's no blueprint.
Right.
Because everybody is different and everybody has to find those relationships and those triggers that they can easily identify and then have something to substitute it with. And I think that that's a positive way forward because that's what we're all about.
Yeah, we gotta
is a positive way forward.
We gotta accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative.
Oh man, there are a lot of camp people right now who are singing that song, and we'll be singing it in a future episode. I guarantee it. But folks, we want to thank you for listening to another episode of Sorry for the Wait. We can't tell you enough how much we appreciate it. Again, for the 4th time, if you want to submit to us, if you want to drop us an email, SFTWSubmissions at gmail.com. Barry is certainly out of this. And so send us an email.
And then also make sure to go follow us on every social media page that you have.
Every single one that you have. Even MySpace.
Yeah.
Someone
log into your MySpace.
Someone create us a MySpace, please. And then send it to us. But also, if you want, actually create us a MySpace and then leave us a voicemail telling us that you've created that MySpace at 774-855-9433.
And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a nice long review on Apple Podcasts.
We love those
Doesn't
reviews.
have to be long.
We're almost at 160. I think we're at like 154, 155. Help us get to 160.
Yeah.
165-star ratings, and we love writing a review. Actually, you know what? Writing your review what your fictional food is.
Yeah.
I really like that. Someone put your fictional food in the reviews. Maybe we'll read a few. Who knows?
Who knows?
Let's mix it up. But you know what, folks? Until next time, I'm Seth.
And I'm Strawberry.
And remember, keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. But keep your snacks the closest.